Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 36th episode of the Triboro Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Alonso, as always, joined on the other side of Discord this time, not Zoom, because we're weird. We use Discord.
Yes.
Nicholas O'Brien, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite all right. Moved out of college for the most part, so we're back home, back to digital recordings. So
We are now back in the
yeah,
Matrix.
we're back in the Matrix. We don't have a nice fancy studio anymore, so we apologize for the dip in audio. I've taken out this mic. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
where's my podcast mic? Like,
Yeah.
where's the 88.7 WNHU studio mic? Now I have a ball.
Ball. I have like a
But
cylinder
we're still here.
that I would
Still
move,
okay.
but it will kill everyone's ears.
Yes, so let's not.
Let's
But
not.
I'm doing all right.
But yeah, Yankees had you literally could not ask for more from a series. Mets had you literally could not ask for less from the series.
Yes.
Very much extremes.
Yeah, extremely. And I only have one nice thing to say about these Mets.
Mm-hmm.
And his name rhymes with
Jacob
Ristrin
DeGrom.
Rot. Yeah, basically. But yeah, it was a tough series overall, but obviously we'll get into that.
Yeah. I don't got anything more for this incredible intro we're having.
Okay, of course. So let's get into it, and we'll see you in Queens.
Girl.
Now entering Queens.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Queens, where the Mets have just been swept out of the devil's asshole known as Tampa Bay. I like Tampa.
Blow it up.
Besides
Blow
the
it
Rays, I like Tampa.
Blow it up.
Yeah, the Trop is a stadium where it's the embodiment of Murphy's Law, where everything and anything will go wrong. They haven't played since 2021 there,
Lucky
and they
bastards.
got swept. And I think after this series, if I'm remembering correctly, they haven't won a game in the Trop since like 2015 or like 2016, something like that. So it's been a long while, and it continues this weekend, or this past weekend, I suppose. But it was a very, very frustrating series, to say the least, and that's just putting it nicely.
That is
Like,
the nicest way you could put it.
Yeah, like,
I would
man,
be
we'll
hiring a
just-
demolition team right now if I were you.
Steve Cohen, buy the Rays, dismantle the Rays, sell the Rays, profit. But we'll get into that. But first, of course, your injury report brought to you by the Triboro MD. Not too much to update you guys. We did an episode this past, what was that? Friday. It was up Friday. So we covered the last week's series against the Cubs. So only a few days in between was Kodai Senga threw another live bullpen session. He threw about 35 pitches. It seems like he's nearing a rehab start, so that hopefully will come soon. But he's still on trajectory to kind of hit that end of May, beginning of June benchmark that a lot of executives set for him. So obviously huge news for the rotation. Getting Senga back will just do miracles on me, but very happy to see that Senga's doing well and hope it continues to do well so we can see him pretty soon.
Mm. Yeah,
But
I was just gonna say that's one of
Yeah,
those
go for
things
it.
where you you said only one positive thing. You have two positive things.
very true.
That
True.
is a lot of the issue, not a lot of the issues, but part of the issue with the Mets is just getting deep into games and the bullpen, like you were kind of like alluding to. And the starters have done well, but getting a guy like that who led the Mets in ERA last year,
Oh yeah,
yeah, by
by a
far,
long shot.
and getting that back would be absolutely massive.
Of course, yeah, and that just does wonders for the depth and just moves everyone down a peg, all that jazz. But yeah, getting Senga back is going to be huge for this team. But getting into the games, gonna quickly go over the games because I have a lot to talk about in like totality, like a lot of takeaways, I guess you could call it. But game one, Jose Quintana pitched. He got absolutely shelled. He lasted 2 2/3, gave up 10 hits, 8 earned runs. His fastball or fastballs, his fastball and sinker, got absolutely creamed. The average exit velo on his fastball was 101, and his sinker 93.2. So very, very disturbing that, I mean, he doesn't throw hard. That's never been his thing. He's more of a contact approach pitcher. But just to see how hard those fastballs were getting hit is extremely
When the
concerning.
average exit velo is higher than the actual velo by a good bit, that is very concerning.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been kind of ignoring this part because, evil, speaking of evil, whatever. But out of sight, out of mind, his expected stats are extremely concerning. His um his bubble his bubbles on Baseball Savant are very blue.
Bubbles.
It it's not looking great. I think before this Tampa Bay start, his xERA was much higher. I think around
Yikes.
the 6. Yeah, his expected ERA right now is 5.95. He's 50th percentile in average exit velo. Doesn't get a lot of chase. Doesn't get a lot of whiffs. Doesn't strike people out. He's walking too many guys. So not it's not good to look at. It's very concerning, and I don't know. I think if he can limit the walks and he can limit the just prolonged innings by whether not even walks, but just full counts, just missing pitches, stuff like that. I think that will do wonders on him. Look, he's not a power pitcher, never was. He needs to get soft contact, but if you're missing consistently and your fastballs are getting hit hard, then that is very, very concerning for the long term.
I think we talked about on the radio show where you kind of have to be an either or pitcher, where you either have to, if you give up a lot of walks, you better strike out everyone. If you don't walk a lot of guys, or if you're like a slower, more contact oriented guy and you're not going to strike out guys, you cannot walk guys. So Quintana's kind of a neither or, which is very concerning because he doesn't really have a quote unquote like black belt in something where this, when he can lean on something, that is the style that will get us out of it. And him not having that is, like you said, very concerning.
Yeah, for sure. And I was just looking at like his pitches and trying to see like what's changed. And in 2022, he had a really good year, and he barely used his sinker. He was a very forcing fastball, curveball, changeup guy. But now this year, he relies a lot on the sinker, relies a lot on the fastball, and then curveball is his third most used pitch. So maybe it's a thing of having to move away from the fastballs and be more of a finesse pitcher. A lot of curveballs, a lot of changeups. He throws a little bit of a slurve here and again. So maybe moving away from the fastball and just becoming more of a breaking pitch pitcher might do well for him.
Yeah.
I'm not a pitching coach. I couldn't tell you. But yeah, it's just extremely concerning for Quintana in the long run, especially coming off of his best start against the Cardinals to then this is very concerning.
Yeah, it's also a thing of he's 35 years old. There's nothing wrong with changing how you pitch when you get older. Look at what CC Sabathia did. He was a guy that threw 98, 99 miles an hour when he was younger, and then he kind of changed up pretty much his entire repertoire and was able to pitch to now he's probably a Hall of Famer. He was able to get 3,000 strikeouts because of it. Obviously, I'm not saying he's CC Sabathia, but just it's very important to know how to change or like know when you're starting to lose it and know that you could just pitch smarter, I guess you could say.
Right.
Yeah,
for sure, definitely. Yeah, but we'll see what happens next with Quintana. He's a veteran. I'm sure he's already tinkering with some things, but long term, the outlook is a little bleak as of right now. But moving on to the offense in Game 1, they tried to rally back. They scored 8 runs, the most they scored this entire series. I think more than Game 2 and 3 combined. So, or about 2 and 3 combined, whichever. But Brett Beatty led the way with his first 2 home run game. He had 4 RBIs. The first home run was bizarre. No one knew where it went. I don't think the umpires knew it was a home run until there was people celebrating in the stands. But it was really bizarre. No one knew where the ball went, but it was a 3-run home run in the second inning, I believe. But, besides that, Lindor had a couple RBIs. I think only Martinez and one other hitter didn't record a hit. But, it was just too little too late. They lost the game 10-8, so very frustrating
I just want
loss.
to say something on the Beatty thing because I wanted to get the rules. The fact that MLB has a website, or like the Rays have a thing that literally has a rule section dedicated to the catwalks, shows you something. Like,
Yeah.
batted ball strikes, catwalk layers, suspended objects over fair territory. And it's just like this whole long thing about how it's so stupid. Like, they
Yeah,
just
I think like if
get
it
the
hits the
demolition team.
catwalk, then it's a foul ball. Even if it's in like fair, like above fair play, like it's
Batted
very
ball that is not judged a home run and remains on a catwalk, light or suspended object, 2 bases.
So if you hit the ball and it gets
If
stuck on
you
the
get like
catwalk,
the
it's
easiest,
an automatic double.
if you hit like a just monster sky high pop up to say like the pitcher, but it stays on the catwalk, that's a double.
It's a double. That's so stupid.
I don't know if there's a catwalk there, but like say there is,
Right.
like easy
Yeah.
fly ball.
I hate it. But yeah, Game 1 was just lack of pitching, and of course that's when the offense showed up. But too little, too late. Very unfortunate. If Quintana kind of just pitched a little better, 6 runs instead of 8, then maybe you scratch out this game. But it's a little too late on the pitching side of things because the offense was rolling since the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading more on the catwalk.
Yeah, go for it.
There's parts where if you hit it and it bounces off, the ball's in play.
So some of it's a double, some of it's in play,
some of
and
it's
I'm
a
sure
home run.
some of it's a foul ball.
Yeah,
it's so stupid. It's so dumb.
Because there's 4 catwalks and each one has a different rule. They're just it's so dumb.
So dumb. Game 2, the best game of the series, but not by much. It was only the best game because of one person. Christian Scott made his major league debut, and man, oh man, was he as advertised. I'm not going to touch too much on him right now because I want to talk more about him later, just to get through the games. Because I'd rather end off on a high note instead of bashing the team. But just really quick, Christian Scott went 6 2/3, gave up 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts, and he just looked like he belongs.
Yeah, you literally can just take out the last 3 batters or the first 3 batters of that start, and you're like, holy shit, this guy just had one of the best starts I've seen outside of DeGrom.
Yeah,
and that is very much so hyperbole, but it's one of the best MLB debuts I'm sure that Mets fans have seen, especially in recent memory. One of the better MLB debuts I've seen in recent memory.
Yeah, definitely. But the offense, of course, pitching showed up. Offense did not. They scored 1 run, 2 batters into the game. A little bit of help from Jose Siri, who misplayed Brandon Nimmo line drive.
First game
Starling Marte. Yeah, exactly. Starling Marte then singled him in, and that was it. After that, offense completely disappeared. They went 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. So it's not for a lack of chances, it's a lack of execution. And the Mets ended up losing that game 3-1. Couldn't get Scott the win, but thankfully he didn't get the loss. But another frustrating game. But Game 3 is probably the most frustrating one. Luis Severino started this game. He had a very iffy outing. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. his final line was 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 6 walks, which is career high, 6 strikeouts. He pitched better than the line showed, but man, the 6 walks were just killer. Had a few defensive mistakes, or kind of just
Yeah.
like, I don't even know what to call it. Like, it was just like a lack of awareness, maybe. Just
Low
really quick,
baseball
Brett.
IQ play.
Yeah, like in one, I think it was the same inning. Brett Beatty had a. It was a bad hop, I'll admit, but like he tried to back up on a ball and he just completely whiffed on it. So I'm pretty sure that scored a run. And then he made an excellent diving play, but instead of throwing to first to get the for sure out, he throws behind the runner at second base, and then everyone's safe. So just like little things like that, I think those two things led directly to a run. So, like I said, the 4 earned runs maybe should more like two or three where it was really on Severino.
Yeah.
But obviously, with 6 walks, you're just asking for trouble, so that's just not excusable.
Mm.
Uh, the offense scored 6 runs, which on paper is like great, good game on the offense, but it's like they didn't deserve any of it. They went 4 for 16 with runners in scoring position, and out of the 6 runs, only 4 of them were earned. So a lot of it was on the Rays defense. I think Jose Siri had a few errors as well,
The Rays as
which,
a team had 2 errors.
yeah. And just really quick on Siri, because I obviously haven't watched the Rays a lot. Does he cry this much? He seems like such a whiner.
Kind of. Not.
Like, I don't know, like every time he made like a mistake, he was like pouting and like
Well, he
man,
always just
like whatever.
makes the most incredible plays against Yankees because he's a Tampa Bay
Right.
Ray.
Of
So,
course.
just, yeah. And a question on one of those earned runs, was one of those earned runs the run in the 10th?
Probably not, because that was the ghost runner that
Okay.
scored. So
I was just
that
curious
wouldn't
if it
have
was
been.
really 3 instead of 4.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe that was a ghost runner, so no, it would not be.
Yeah. Well,
Earned,
yeah, it would have
but...
been the ghost runner because. But
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me. All right. And
Bless
then
you.
Pete Alonso just looked really bad this entire series, but it was very apparent in this game alone. He came up with 1 out, bases loaded, twice, 2 separate situations, bases loaded, 1 out, 0 runs scored. He either struck out or popped out or whatever in the first at bat. Second at bat, he grounded into a double play. He was a complete rally killer every time he stepped up to the plate in this entire series, and just more so in Game 3. And I want to talk about him a
Is
little
he from
more
St.
in a
Pete?
few. I don't know if he's from St. Pete, but he's from Florida.
Okay.
He went to I always forget which college it is. Whichever the Florida Gators are.
Yeah.
Like Florida College, Florida University,
Yeah, he's from Tampa.
whichever. Okay, he is
So do you think
Tampa,
that
so
part of it is just like nerves of homecoming?
maybe, but like it's been like this for a while.
Mm,
It just I
gotcha.
feel like this series just made it more apparent, but he's been struggling for a bit.
Mm.
And then on the defensive side of things, they let up 6 stolen bases the entire game, which is just god awful. I believe we touched on it like a week or two ago about the whole stolen base thing, that I think now they've thrown out two base stealers, but they've let up like 52. I think, yeah, they're like 3 for 55, 2 for 54, something like that. And it's starting to become apparent that the players are noticing it, because
The
there was
Mets
a
are
point.
52 of 55 in allowing base runners to steal.
Right. So they've thrown out three base runners, which is just horrible.
They're on pace to set the record. By their 153rd game, they're on pace to break the record.
It's insane.
So they would still have 9 more games of doing it, but
Yeah. but a lot of the players are becoming visibly frustrated. There was a point in this game where I think it was Reed Garrett pitching, and Lindor was basically yelling at him like, "Look at the runner, look at the runner." Like, you know, make sure you know that he's there, and that even if you're not going to throw over, at least put it in the runner's head that hey, he could throw over, so I need to stay close to the bag.
And even if it's like a
But
weak throw over, just do it once, just so again his head.
right, just because like I know you're there, I know you're taking a lead. That's all it needs to
Or
be. You
step
don't need
off,
to
just
pick them
something.
off.
Yeah, step off,
Right.
give him a look, just something.
Yeah, but after Lindor basically yelled at Garrett, I don't know who, I forget who the runner is, but they then stole third base. And on the replay, Lindor took off his glove and started just slamming it into the ground, like in the middle of the inning. So Lindor is becoming increasingly frustrated at the lack of awareness on the base paths. I mean, look, I did a lot of digging into it, and we'll talk about it in a second, but just it's a combination of the pitchers and the catchers with all the stolen bases. But if you're a pitcher and you're not holding a guy on, you're just asking for him to steal the base at that point. Like, I understand with the new rules, you only get 2 disengagements, and then the third one, it could be a balk, yada, yada, yada. But that's the case for everybody. Like, that's the rule for the entire league. So you got to adapt to that. And again, even if you're not going to pick them off, even if you're not, you have no intention of, just put it in the runner's head that, like, hey, I know you're there. I'm aware of what you're doing. And that's all you need. Because these guys are getting, like, halfway down the line, and then they steal the base with no issue. So it's becoming very frustrating to watch. And, like Lindor, the players are becoming increasingly frustrated as well.
Yeah. That's just, it's. You got to be better on that because you're literally turning singles into doubles.
Yeah,
Like, that's
that's
literally what it is.
basically
Like,
how it
you give up
is.
a single, you give up a walk, you're giving up a double.
Yeah,
That's quite literally what it is.
yeah, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
And, like, I get some guys are
Yeah.
just never going to, like, guys are just going to steal on them. Like, I get that. Like,
Mhm.
Ottavino, like, you're going to have,
Yeah.
like, 100% stolen base rate on him just because he's so
Right.
slow. But when it's every single guy in the pitching staff, that's when it's an issue.
Exactly. But just overall, just a very sloppy, frustrating series. I don't really know what else to say. I mean, it's just you have pitching, but you don't have offense. You don't have pitching, then the offense comes alive, and then you kind of have a little bit of both, and then you make mistakes on the field. It was a very sloppy series, and it's just they're now 2 games under 500 because of the series after getting swept. So it's just I didn't even mention it. I don't know how I completely forgot about this. Game 3, the Mets had to lead in the ninth. Edwin Diaz blew his first save since May of 2022, letting up a tying home run to Randy Arozarena. It was very interesting because up until after the home run, Diaz didn't throw a single fastball. It was just slider, 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 slider. He had Arozarena 3-2, 2 outs. He threw a slider to every batter up until this point. And he threw another one, hung it, and the Rosarena, hit it out of the park. And I will say, it was a wall scraper. It was only hit, I think, 95 miles an hour. So it was just a hard hit ball. Like, it just made that little threshold of being considered a hard hit ball. But still, like, even if it's not a good fastball, if you're spamming slider and it's 3-2 and he's only seen slider, even if it's not a good fastball, why don't you throw the fastball? Even if you walk him, why don't you throw the fastball to just throw him off?
Yeah.
Like, he's only seen sliders. It doesn't need to be a good fastball. You just need to mess with his timing, and maybe he'll swing through it, maybe he'll get under it, whatever. But it was so frustrating to watch when he could easily throw a fastball, and I'm sure it would have been better to walk him, or maybe he grounded out, struck out, whatever. But he only saw a slider, so why don't you throw your fastball? I just
Especially to if
boggles the
there's
mind.
any hitter on that Rays team that you would bet money on having a clutch hit in that situation, it's Rosarina. And it's like
Right.
not even particularly close.
Right. And I'm pretty sure he's been struggling against fastballs as well, so I just
He
don't
has. I remember
understand.
when the Yankees were playing that like
Right.
he was hitting like under 200 against fastballs this year.
Right. So like, why don't you throw the fastball? Like
Yeah.
his velocity hasn't been there yet. I think he's only averaging like 98 on his fastball.
Yeah, but he
But
has one of the most disgusting fastballs in baseball.
right, like just throw it. It was so frustrating, so frustrating. And obviously he blew the save. So now everyone's like, what's wrong with Diaz? What's going on with Diaz? I don't think
I'm sorry, but saves are the
anything is
dumbest
wrong.
stat on the planet.
Yeah.
Like they're almost as dumb as wins and losses. Not as
Right.
dumb, but at times they are.
Yeah, it's like he's coming off a horrific injury to his knee, which he missed an entire year. He's gonna need time to, ramp himself back up. This was only his 13th appearance. He's thrown almost 14 innings. So give him time. His slider still looks good. I'm sure the velocity will come. His underlying stats still look great. xERA 98th percentile, average exit velocity 99th, whiff 99, K percentage 98, hard hit 91. Like he's fine. Everything looks good. It's just he's human. It's gonna happen. It's very frustrating that it happened this game where you really wanted to squeeze out that win. But again, the offense didn't help themselves. 4 for 16 of runners in scoring position. You just could have scored a lot more. But I'm not worried about Diaz. I think it also doesn't do him justice that everybody's gonna compare him to that insane 2022. A 1.3 ERA, 62 innings, 118 strikeouts. He's not gonna be that guy again. Like you signed, obviously the contract you signed is to be that guy, but 2022 was just such an insane year that it's not fair to him for fans to expect him to be that year in year out. He's gonna be elite, but I don't think he's really gonna touch that 2022 ever again.
I hate that I've been trying to find this for the last like 5 minutes. I've been trying to find how many home runs or how many ballparks that ball would have been a home run in.
I think it was only half.
It doesn't matter, but for the last 5 minutes I've been trying to find that, and it's been annoying me that I couldn't find it.
All right. Yeah, 15 out of 30.
Okay.
So
Do you know
literally
Citi Field
half.
was one of them?
Citi Field, yes, would have been one.
Obviously, it's ballpark that know the ballpark you're in, but it's just like
right. Like, look, a home run's a home run, so it is what it is. But Rosarena hit it 94.7 miles an hour, had a 230 expected batting average. So do with that what you will. Home run's a home run. They still lost the game. Not making an excuse, but I'm just not worried about
Jacob
Diaz.
Stallings walk-off grand slam?
Yeah, it was
like a
0.9
or something.
Yeah, something not 0.9, 0.09, but whatever. Yeah, regardless. But yeah, just a very frustrating loss and series as a whole. But the first thing I really want to get into is the stolen base epidemic, as everyone's been calling it. And I did a lot of digging on Baseball Savant, and there's a lot that goes into this. But just to start off, so far they have the ninth fastest average runner against. So basically, they are facing the ninth fastest runner on average each time.
Okay.
So they have some fast players stealing them, but just to giving all the context before I get into the numbers, but really, like I said earlier, it's the pitchers and the catchers. It's not one or the other, it's both. So who's really to blame the majority on? We'll get into it. So for pitchers, on average, the Mets have the 6th closest distance to second base by the time the pitch crosses the plate. So compared to each team, the runner stealing second is closer to second base than a lot of other teams. So meaning they're getting good leads. The pitchers aren't holding them on, and by the time the pitch crosses the plate, they're basically like halfway there. So 6th closest distance to second base by the time the pitch crosses the plate. I attribute that to the pitchers. So whether it's, just throwing over, holding them on better, speeding up your windup, whichever, it's already doing the catchers a disservice that the runner is already so close to second base before they even have a chance to catch the ball.
I feel like part of that may also be, and I'm talking like a very little part of it, may also be on Mendoza and the other coaches, because they could like give more signs to throw over more,
Right.
Obviously, I'm not saying it's not Mendoza's fault that the pitchers are like, what is it, six?
Oblivious.
Yeah, just oblivious. Like it's not his fault, but he does have some responsibility to try and teach them to do more.
Right. Yeah, kind of just telling them like, hey, pay attention to the runner. Look at the runner. I think that's what Lindor was trying to do with Reed Garrett.
Yeah.
And still didn't throw over. He then stole the base, and he was visibly frustrated at that. And they even I forgot to mention this. They were talking in the dugout after that inning, and I don't want to say it was getting heated, but you could tell it was like
He was
a very
frustrated.
like, right. It was a very kind of just like a grindy conversation. But getting into the catchers, before I get into both Nito and Narvaez individually, just by team, Mets catchers have the 8th slowest pop time, the 4th best exchange rate, so yay, and the 2nd worst arm. So you're slow to get up. Sure, you can get the ball out of the glove fast, but then you have a bad arm.
I feel like the exchange rate is the least important of those as well.
Right. Like you can make up a lot of that with
A strong arm or a quick pop time.
Exactly. But so just to recap, you have the 6th closest distance to second base before the catcher even has the ball. The catchers have the 8th slowest pop time and the 2nd worst arm as catchers. The only thing they do well is take the ball out of the glove. And the arm thing is my least, not worried, but kind of like, because Jose Trevino, Platinum Glove winner, has the worst arm.
Literally the worst arm in baseball.
Right, by a catcher, and
it's not even
fine.
Close.
So the arm thing isn't an issue. It is what it is. You're not going to fix that over the course of a season. Pop time is my biggest thing. 8th slowest pop time.
Yeah.
When your runners are already like halfway down to second base. So you're just wasting more time there. And then getting to a catcher by catcher like thing.
Yeah.
Narvaez is by far the worst out of the two. He has allowed 15 stolen bases on his own. He had, out of all qualified catchers, Narvaez has the 8th worst pop time. He is 25th out of 57 in exchange rate and the 9th worst arm. What does he do? He doesn't hit.
Hit lefty?
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't hit. He doesn't throw guys out. I don't think he's been grading out as a good framer. I will fact check myself.
I got you.
Justin will fact check me. But 8th worst pop time, so he's slow to get up.
7th
9th worst arm. 7th percentile for him.
Hey,
so
he's
he
89th percentile and blocks above average.
He blocks. That's all he does. He doesn't throw guys out. He doesn't frame. He doesn't hit. He only blocks.
He doesn't strike out.
Cool. Put the ball in play. I don't give a shit if you don't strike out. But he's just one of the worst defensive catchers in baseball right now.
He's also 1st percentile in sprint speed.
And he's slow as fuck. So what the fuck is he gonna do? Like, what does he do? What does this man do? But moving on, because I think Narvaez has been catching strays for me,
Yeah.
since
I'm
the
not sure if
season
you
started.
mentioned this, but 5th percentile on caught stealing above average.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. Looking at eighth worst pop time, ninth worst arm, average exchange rate, like whatever.
Yeah.
But then going on to Nito, he's 30th out of 57 in pop time. So not great, but not as bad as Narvaez. He has the fifth best exchange rate and the seventh worst arm. Now, Nito is the only catcher to throw out a runner so far. And, you know, you look at all this, you kind of just take in everything I've said, and this is a recipe for disaster. The pitchers aren't holding guys on, so they're getting bigger leads, and they're getting closer to second base before the catcher even has a chance to throw it. The catchers themselves are average to below average in a lot of the most important attributes of a catcher. Pop time,
I may have to
arm.
disagree with you on that.
How so?
With Nito, I'm just looking at his Baseball Savant page. He does everything above average. He's 56th percentile in blocks above average, 61st in caught stealing above average, 78th percentile in framing, 52nd in pop time, while having some pretty good underlying numbers. The chase, whiff, strikeout, and walks are not good, but everything else is pretty damn good.
Nito. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but you know, he. I will say Nito is better than Narvaez.
Yeah.
I think that's
That's not
non
that's not a
arguable.
debate, yeah.
Yeah. But just a lot of the things he does for just base stealing specifically, he's average a lot. He's average in a lot of the big metrics.
Yeah.
But
Which wouldn't be bad, but when you have
right,
so many other things going on.
right.
Sorry for stealing your
And if
thunder.
no, you're good. Like that's perfect. Like he's average in a lot of things, but when the runners are halfway to second base before he even has a chance to throw, that's setting him up for disaster. So it's a combination of everything, but I think when Narvaez is catching, you can put a lot of the stolen bases on him. But when Nito is catching, I think a lot more of the blame goes on the pitchers.
Mm.
But Baseball Savant also has this other thing where they track based on how far the runner is and the average pop time. They have a percentage of caught stealing. So since 2016, 15% of runners are caught when the runner is 55 feet away from second base and the average pop time is 2 seconds. Those are both the averages for the Mets right now. The runner is an average of 55 feet away from second base by the time the pitch crosses the plate, and the average pop time is 2 seconds. So since 2016, with those numbers in mind, only 15% of runners are caught. Like that's horrible. Like
So
as
there's
a
room for
team,
a positive regression.
maybe.
That's
Like
the
yeah,
only...
exactly. They have.
But
There's
even then, that's 2016,
three for
where that's
55.
not including the new rules.
Right, right. So, just obviously a really bad epidemic, but I think it's a lot of it can change if the pitchers hold runners on better.
Yeah. Or at least get in
But
their heads a little bit.
right, but moving on from that, uh, the offensive struggles more so. Pete Alonso, who I'm really going to talk about, was very apparent this series. For the year now, he's hitting 206 with a 295 on base and a 420 slug. Slug's fine, but obviously you wish it was higher for a 715 OPS. But for the past 30 games, he's hitting 196 with 297 on base, 412 slug for a 708 OPS. So, like I mentioned earlier, this isn't like a bad series. He's having a horrific start to his year so far, and now this just makes me sad. Getting on to points with runners on base and runners in scoring position on the season, with runners on, he has a 69 WRC plus. The last 2 weeks, he has a 57 WRC plus. The past week, he has a 16 WRC plus with runners on. 1-6. When the league average is 100. Now getting on to runners in scoring position, on the season, he has a 72 WRC plus. Last 2 weeks, he has a 6 WRC plus. Last week, he has an 86 WRC plus, so a little better. Last 2 weeks, 6. 1 digit.
Like, that's Aaron Hicks bad.
Yeah, he is 94% worse than the average hitter with runners in scoring position the past 2 weeks. And just overall in the past 2 weeks, 81 WRC plus, 68 with runners on. 78 with runners on, 66 with runners in scoring position. He's your cleanup hitter, and he has these numbers with runners on and runners in scoring position. It's just a setup for failure. Like, he's doing absolutely nothing. I'm not sure what it is. A lot of the underlying stats are also poor.
Very bad.
It's not like he's getting unlucky. It's not like he's squaring up the ball. Like, average exit velo is down. Expected WOBA is down. Expected batting average is down. Everything looks bad, and I'm not sure what it is. It's he's flailing a lot. I mean, he's always had an issue with just pitches down and away. He's always flailed
He's a
like that.
slugger. That's gonna happen.
Right. Yeah, but like this season, there's something going on. I'm not sure if he's pressing because of where the Mets are. Maybe he's getting in his own head because it's a contract year.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I don't know, but like as a cleanup hitter, you cannot have these numbers. Like, you expect this guy to have 100, 120 RBIs by the season's end. And right now, he'll be lucky to touch 80 with these numbers.
If that.
Yeah, exactly. So, Pete Alonso has a lot to do with the offensive struggles so far. Because, like I mentioned in the series recap, they had a lot of chances to run into scoring position. They just never got that big hit. And unfortunately, a lot of it has to do with Alonso. But
yeah, I usually say that 100, 125 plate appearance is kind of when you could grasp where a guy's at for the year. He's at 150.
Right, and he looks absolutely lost.
Yeah.
He's early on breaking pitches and off speed. He's late on fastballs. He's taking a lot of pitches like down the middle or like in the zone where usually you'd think he'd crush them. So I think that's a part of it. He's just taking too much. Maybe just be more aggressive in the zone. I'm not sure, but if this continues, the Mets aren't going to go anywhere. I mean, say what you want. Like, if you're relying on one player, then maybe it's not a good team. But the Mets are relying on Pete Alonso to be the big cleanup hitter, and he just has not been that for the entire season so far.
And that's not even. I hate that argument, honestly, at times, where you need a star player in baseball.
Right.
Like, you need that guy that. Look at what the Yankees were. Soto and Judge are both starting to hit more. I'll get more into that later. But they are going. The offense is so much better because you have that. Lindor's been better as of late, right?
Yeah, since like his standing ovation, he's been a lot better.
Yeah, so he's been a lot better, but Lindor can't carry it alone. So it's not even a thing of you're relying only on Alonso. No, you're relying on him to be good because the other guys are good. If he's not, it doesn't matter that Lindor's doing good if he's not getting knocked in. And if Lindor's hitting it, say he hits a shit ton of solo home runs. Solo home runs don't win you games. Look at the 2022 Yankees with Aaron Judge.
Exactly. And, you have guys getting on base in front of him. Nimmo's been extremely unlucky still. Marte he looked good. He looks healthy. Lindor has looked better. Then you get to Alonso, who's like almost like guaranteed out. JD Martinez hasn't really got it going. Jeff McNeil hasn't looked great. It's just up and down. Like, once you get past the first 3 hitters, it's kind of like, yikes, because no one is producing.
Yeah.
But let's end off on a high note and talk a little bit about Christian Scott, who is just spectacular. Like I mentioned earlier, he went 6 2/3, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts in his debut. He had an over 30% whiff rate on 3 different pitches. His fastball had a 36% whiff rate. Whiff weight. Whiff rate. His sweeper had 35% whiff rate. His slider had a 44% whiff rate. And his sweeper looked disgusting. It made some really good hitters look silly. And he gets almost 2 inches more of horizontal break than the average sweeper, which is insane. And overall, he had a 35% whiff rate for his entire outing. He just looked as advertised. He looked really good. He was like, he was a bulldog on the mound. He pounded the zone. Like, he just looked really, really good, and I'm very excited to keep watching him pitch. But yeah, the intangibles also looked fantastic. Even in that first inning, like, he got hit around a little bit, but he looked composed. He looked, calm, and he kept pitching. Like, he didn't change anything because there was runners on the corners. Like, he looked very composed and calm, and it's just very impressive for, I think, 24, 25-year-old. And even his first walk was a very long at bat. I forgot who it was, but after he walked the guy, he was smiling. You know what I mean? Like, just the intangibles of things like that is just amazing. And I think the Mets have really got a guy with Christian Scott.
Yeah. You saw that with Cole, where he started to become a lot better when he took himself less seriously. I'm pretty sure he was, like, so serious on himself. And then the very next year, he started, like, laughing on the mound more, kind of just, like, being more of a guy than a robot. And I'm pretty sure that was the year he won the Cy Young. It could have been the year before he started doing that, but I'm pretty sure the year he started doing that, he won the Cy Young. So you need to, like, obviously it's great to have, like, a Max Scherzer, like, gonna rip your head off, but you also need to be able to take a breath, realize, like, that means nothing as long as I get the next guy out.
Right. And look, at the end of the day, it's a game. You got to have fun. You can't take it so seriously. You got to stay a little loose, and that's what Christian Scott looked like. And he just could not be more impressive in his first major league start. And I pray and pray that they keep him in this rotation.
Yeah.
But don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'll end it there for the Mets. Yeah, I know. Sorry. There was a lot going on, all right? I had a lot to get off my chest. There's a lot to talk about. But Christian Scott looked really good, and I really hope that he continues success. I think his next start is currently lined up against the Braves. So we'll see. That'll be a really big test in the second major league start. But, we'll see what happens. But if you don't got anything else to add, I'm all good.
Okay, if Google actually wants to because I'm trying to back up your point right now, but Google's being dumb. Where are you? Okay, he's not on MLB.com, but that's the way that it lines up. So yeah, I got nothing else, so into the Bronx.
Yeah.
Now entering the Bronx.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bronx. And it was a very sour taste in Queens. It's going to be a lot more positive here in the Bronx. So, of course, we don't have nearly as much to talk about because it's a lot more positive.
Why would we want to talk about positive things?
Yeah,
we're only here to rip the team apart when they're doing bad.
Exactly. But getting into your injury update brought to you by the Triboro MD. So, the very big one. Garrett Cole threw 15 pitches off a mound on Saturday at about 90 miles an hour. Oh no, he's throwing 90 miles an hour. Shut up, that's the plan. You're not going to have a guy throw 100 miles an hour the first time on a mound in months. Like, no. So, very, very good sign. They're saying middle of June is kind of when he's expected. And you just seem to forget that I said when it first happened that I did not want him getting activated right away, even if he was ready. I said
Yeah.
I wanted him to take an extra week just to be safe because you don't risk it with a guy like that. But apparently you're taking all
Yes.
credit for it, so
No. I said it first that he's not going to be back till
no, no,
June.
no,
So.
no, no. I don't care. Whatever. Um, Tommy Canley had a batting practice session on Saturday. Could be getting rehab assignment soon. Um, this one's Nick. Yeah, Nick Birdie was supposed to pitch yesterday. Got rained out. John Birdie got activated off the IL. He is now on the team. He started yesterday. Then DJ LeMahieu has resumed hitting, but is not close to being ready for rehab games.
All right.
I
Progress. Like, it's so tough with DJ. I think you're going to be lucky to get him back in any capacity this
yeah,
season.
it's
I have a gut feeling that this is just going to be,
a wash.
yeah, like, I don't know, because it's just, with feet, especially with, like, as a hitter,
You know a lot
pause,
about
and,
feet?
no, as a hitter and just obviously just fielding, like, because is it his left or right foot? I keep forgetting.
It's his right foot.
Right foot. All right. So yeah, his back leg, like you can't really like push anything. Like that's obviously like your push leg when you swing. Then obviously just fielding. Obviously you just need to keep running around. But yeah, I just have a gut feeling this might just be a washed year for him. Hopefully he could play a few games after the All-Star break if he's lucky. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not having a great feeling about this.
Yeah, I'm not. You can't bank on him coming back, which
Yeah.
I think we haven't heard much about him, but I think it's a lot safer a bet to bank on an Oswald Peraza than him.
Yeah,
And even then,
definitely.
we haven't
And
heard about him in like a month.
right. And even if you do get DJ back, who knows how he'll produce.
How's he gonna play? Yeah, he hasn't been the
Right,
best the
so
last couple of years.
right. So it's tough, but yeah, like you said, you just got to bank on
Yeah,
him not really being a factor.
the baseball insanity runs need to be like studied, because DJ LeMahieu was legitimately one of the best hitters in baseball in 2019 and 2016. He was fourth in MVP in 19, third in 2020. Then you also
Right.
have guys like Luke Voigt, where
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought about this, but I remember telling my friend who's a Cubs fan right before the 2018 playoffs to watch out for Luke Voigt, because in like the 60 games they had after they acquired him, sent him down, brought him back up, he was hitting like 340.
Right.
And I remember the Luke Voigt, how he was an MVP candidate in 2020. Just the Luke Voigt insanity run.
He
needs
led
to
the
be
league in
studied.
home runs in
I
2020.
think he had 21 with a
Yeah,
bad
and now
foot, where if you watched him run the bases, even
oh
when
yeah,
he's rounding the bases after a home run, he was like,
it was like a limp.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
But
now he's out of the league.
the baseball insanity runs need to be studied for generations. But getting into the actual games, so game one, Marcus Stroman went 5 1/3, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 5 walks, 3 Ks. He did not look good. Like, I know it was only the 1 run, but he had a lot of base runners. Didn't have that pristine control that he had earlier in the year. And I don't have the game log in front of me, but I know his walks have been like up there as of late, and I
think-
could be wrong,
If
but
I'm remembering correctly, I think he walked 5 in that game alone.
yeah, he did.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but correct me if I'm wrong, but he's never been a high walk guy, right?
No. No.
Yeah, so
Well, yeah,
he's
that sinker slider is a lot more command oriented, obviously. So he never really had a high like walks per 9. I'm looking at it quickly now. So far, he has the highest walk per 9 of his career.
yeah,
His career average is 2.6. Right now, it's 4.8.
pretty much double his
Right.
career average.
Yeah.
So definitely gonna need to see better improvement from that, because that is pretty
for
concerning.
sure.
Because, I mean, it
Ooh,
is.
I didn't realize. Sorry, real
Go on.
quick. He is after this Detroit game. This is now 2 starts in a row where he's walked 5 batters.
Yeah. I will say, for a guy like him, it's almost more manageable, just because he's a ground ball pitcher, just to get those double plays. But still,
Yeah.
when you're having twice as high as your career walks per 9, that's not good.
Right. Yeah, he might be able to get away with it, but long term, you gotta cut
That's
it down.
not good, yeah.
Right.
Especially with how we talked last episode about how bad your corner defense was. Where,
Right.
granted, you had up the middle, incredible defense, but the
Right.
corners were just horrible.
Yeah. God, God forbid a ball goes to third or first. You don't even know if you're gonna get that double play.
Yeah. You don't know if you're gonna get an out.
Yeah.
So just, yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think it's just one of those not necessarily small sample size things, but kind of just like, because he didn't have an issue with walks in the beginning of the year. Like the first couple
Yeah.
starts, he didn't. So I think it's kind of one of those like lump periods.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, quickly looking at it, like you said, 5 in the past 2, then 1, then 2, 4 against Miami, then 1, then 2. So I think it's a little inflated, but
Yeah, recency
long
bias
term,
definitely has to do a lot with it.
yeah, but not worried long term. But obviously, just if it's a continuing trend, then obviously something needs to be fixed.
Yeah, Matt Blake saved me. But then for the offense in this game, the offense had 2 hits through 8 innings. And then the first 4 batters all had a hit in the 9th inning. You had Judge single, a Verdugo with maybe the best bunt I've ever seen in my entire life for a hit, a Stanton double, and then a Rizzo RBI single to walk it off. I will talk more about... Actually, no, why not? I'll talk about Stanton right now. He's had a very mediocre year where you look at on the season... why can I not get it? He has a 106 WRC+. But with runners in scoring position, he is one of the best hitters in baseball. So, when the bases are empty, 108. Men on base, 103. Men in scoring position, 216.
Holy crap!
He has a... Where is it? He's hitting 333 with a 419 on base, 704 slugging for a 1.123 OPS with men in scoring position.
That's insane.
I mean, honestly, if Stan wants to just like not do stuff when guys aren't on, but when then guys are in scoring position, he wants to hit, I have no issue with that.
Yeah. I think you take that.
Yeah, especially because I'll get more into it, but like when you have Judge who's actually starting to hit a lot, now you have Rizzo who I'm pretty sure has been hot as of late as well.
Yeah.
It makes, it's almost at the point where I don't care Stan's not hitting home runs if this is how he's gonna be playing.
Yeah, definitely. And just really quick, because I was just looking at the leaderboards for WRC Plus for bonus and scoring position. Stan's doing great, but like Soto is 4th with a 268.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
But
he
go
is, on. And I'm surprised 4 seems low to me. Like that's who's 1 through 3?
Yeah. Brent Rooker with a 313. I think
sure
that's a little
very small sample size. I'm sure.
Yeah, 20 plate appearances compared to over 30. But Salvador Perez 289, Mookie Betts, of course, 288.
I just want to say, 2nd and 3rd, or all 2nd through 4, just pat myself on the back. That Salvador Perez pick in the home run draft. I told you, I'm taking a shot on a guy who has the upside to be the number 1 catcher home run wise. The Mookie Betts and Juan Soto MVP picks. Ooh-wee! Zooey mama! But, yeah, I just wanted to pat myself on the back for that because I'm awesome.
Good job, buddy.
Thank you. I really
Proud
appreciate it. Then, Game 2, Clark Schmidt had 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks, 7 Ks. In a weird way, this is the most impressive start of his season for me. In a very weird way. I know he gave up 3 runs, only went 5 innings. His number 1 pitch is his fastball. He did not have that. He could not locate it whatsoever, and he was able to go 5 innings, only give up 3 runs. You're taking away a guy who just, number 1 pitch, gone. You have to rely all on your secondaries. That shows... Because last year, he would have been done after the 3rd, if he even got through the 3rd. That just shows a level of maturity that we didn't really see last year with him that was very impressive to me.
for sure.
And sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, I'm just agreeing with you. Like,
Yeah.
that's super impressive because
Yeah.
what, he's 20,
He's like one of the
5?
weirdest. No, he's like
Something
27,
like that.
but
Oh, really?
he is. Let me get it. Okay, you don't want to give me his age? Got it.
I got it. He's 28. Wow. Okay, I was way off.
Yeah.
But
And he still has
still,
after this year 3 more years of control.
why?
I don't understand how, but he just does.
Yeah. But no, that's super impressive. I mean, you see a lot of the top guys like they are able to switch their repertoire or just the way they pitch like that. Like in a pinch, they can just, go to their next closest pitch if they don't have the best pitch. But like you said, it shows a lot of maturity and just growth and just overall talent that he's able to kind of switch just like that
Yeah.
when he knows. I think that's another thing, that he knows he doesn't have that fastball.
Yeah. And even then, too, like, the thing with those guys, they have 3 or 4 plus pitches. Like, the top
Right.
guys. Clark really only had 2 pitches, maybe a third, but he pretty much only used cutter and curveball. I think it was curveball. It could have been slider, but if he's able to do that with only 2 pitches and is even able to develop a third, you're talking about a guy with some serious upside. Just to have 3 plus pitches on a normal day, that for a 4 or 5 starter, that's insane. So, I will say I don't like how they're managing him. Where it's kind of weird. It's kind of. I forget what. Catch-22, where his numbers through the third time through the order, and like in the 7th inning, aren't good. But that's because he's had like one time where he's been there. So it's a thing of he's
Right.
trying to prove that he could do it, but they're not giving him the opportunity to prove that he could do it. Because when he did it, he wasn't good. But that one time was a
Right.
one-time thing.
Yeah.
So,
So how are you supposed to allow him to get better or even like see if he can do it if you don't let him?
Yeah. So
That's frustrating.
when he has
blame
his
you there.
stuff, I want to see him do more. I want to see
Right.
them try and push him to 7.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because I think he has it in him. He's been a lot better than he has the last couple of years when it comes to that.
Definitely.
But then moving on to, I have 2 more notes of this game. First one, Rizzo 3-run home run. I just wanted to mention that because, like I said, he's been a lot better as of late, and I just want to give him his flowers. Because I've been very critical of Rizzo, and I think rightfully so, because defensively he's been god-awful, and that's cost the Yankees runs in games. So, yeah, but just, I love Rizzo, don't get me wrong. He's, like, how can you not like Rizzo? It's just, you need him to start performing. He's starting to perform now. But now, the big one. So, in the 8th inning, in a 2-run game, Aaron Judge gets called out on a borderline pitch. I can't remember if it was, like, barely a strike, barely a ball, whatever. But it was called strike 3. And Judge just, like, keep in mind multiple times in this game there were guys that got rung out on balls that were just so clearly balls, but he called strike 3. He turns back, and he gets, like, mad. He doesn't get mad at the umpire. He just, like, says his piece, which happens all the time. And when he's walking away, he goes, and this is a quote from John Boy, oh my god, really man, that's bullshit, you've been bullshit all game. While he's walking away, and then gets ejected.
Right.
That's one of the softest ejections I've seen in my entire life.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
A guy that has not been thrown out in his entire life. Not in Little League, not in high school, not in college, not in the minors, not in the majors. Never been thrown out. A guy that's known for having that level of respect in the game. He's not showing you up. He literally just says, he literally said, that's a bullshit call. While he's walking away, which guys do all the fucking time, and you're throwing him out for that? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think even Rizzo said, I think it was also John Boy reading his lips.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, that's like the softest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
That's
but
baby
yeah,
shit.
like that.
Literally
that's
soft
horrible.
baby shit.
Horrible. Like, look, I understand No, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's not that bad of a comment. He could have said a lot worse. I
He
think he even
said he
said after the
said
game,
he said a lot worse in his life.
right, right, and it's like, oh, it's bullshit. Essentially, is what he's saying. It's like, goodbye. Like, no, that's
Yeah,
horrible.
that's
Absolutely horrible.
and
And they'll
sorry.
never be held accountable for that.
He
The
won't
umpires.
be. And John Flaherty and Paul O'Neill are both ripping the umpire a new one. I forget exactly what Paul O'Neill was saying, but he pretty much said that. Okay, no, I think it was one of them said this. I think it was Paul O'Neill, may have been both of them. But people come to watch Aaron Judge. People come to watch him. They know him as a professional, as all this. And all the fans saw is that Aaron Judge is walking away and gets thrown out. He didn't make a big show. He wasn't showing you up in front of everyone. And just, that's ridiculous. That like, and it's also in a close game, too. Like, if it's like a
Right.
10-run game, okay, whatever, like, that sucks. But, like, there's
Right.
no chance.
Frustrating.
But
Yeah.
a 5-3 game, you're taking away one of your best defensive players? That's bullshit. It's so... There needs to be
Really
some
bad.
sort of accountability for umpires, and the fact that there isn't is just so infuriating.
Definitely.
Just, I have
Yeah.
So umpire scorecard made a thing kind of inspired by Baseball Savant's bubbles for individual games. 19th percentile in accuracy above expected, 4 percentile in total run impact, 42nd percentile in accuracy. Who's the umpire? Let me...
Yikes.
Fuck you, Ryan Blackney.
That's horrible.
Yeah. When is
First
the
of
CBA?
all, let me just say, I love that umpire scorecard does that now.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible.
When is the CBA up between the umpires union and baseball?
No idea.
They need to do something about that. Let's have a lockout for it.
Lock out the umpires.
Yeah, seriously.
Pick a random fan in the stands.
Dude, I'd pick a Yankee
Who wants
fan.
umpire?
I'm throwing out every player on the other team.
What'd you say to me?
What'd you say to me?
Bye.
Did you say hello? Goodbye. You asked how
Get
my
outta
kids are? Goodbye.
Get out of my game. How dare you bring up my family?
How dare you be a nice individual?
I know.
So, I could go on forever about that.
Yeah.
Because that is the dumbest shit on the planet. Just into game 3. So, Nestor went 6 1/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 9 Ks. He pitched so damn well this game. So damn well. He was at 85 pitches entering the 7th inning. He gets the first out, and then immediately gives up 2 runners, so obviously you pull him. But then Ian Hamilton gives up 2 more runners, and I'll get into that more later. But so he had 3 hits and a walk. 2 of those hits were the last 2 hit batters he faced.
Right.
They said a crazy thing on the broadcast that he was 17 out of 22 on first pitch strikes.
Jeez.
That is very good. That's how you be efficient.
That's great. Right. Get ahead. Take notes.
Yeah.
Mets. Take notes. Throw strikes. Get ahead in the count. Sorry.
Yeah, but that was very... I heard that, and that, I thought I misheard that. I was like, huh? That's
Right.
very impressive. And then I found this really funny, that Judge's first at-bat, he hits a home run, and it wasn't even close. That was just perfect. That was
yeah,
just...
of course.
And, Ryan Blanky, that's how I'm calling him. I'm calling him Blanky now.
Blanky.
And Blanky was the third base umpire, so I was just thinking in my head, yo, Judge, give him a fist bump. Or just, a wave to him. Just do something when you're on the bases.
Yeah.
But,
Just a little nod.
yeah, a little.
Yeah, exactly. Tip your hat.
I do want to say this. That is the second home run off Screwball's fastball all year. And
Wow.
last year, he only gave up 1 home run on the fastball. So, it's not like it was a bum. Tariq Screwball is he was a guy that I was debating making my AL Cy Young pick. Just because
Right. Yeah.
I was a lot higher on him than most going into this year. Which I'm not like trying to brag that I said Tariq Skubal would be good. Everyone knew he would be good,
Right.
but I kind of
Yeah.
had that like this guy is an ace, and I just had like just the stuff, all that. So I think they scored 2 runs off him in 6. But they did have a good amount of traffic, so
Right.
you didn't have Rizzo because I think Rizzo was like a 420 OPS for lefties this year, which I
Yeah.
was mad that I saw Rizzo wasn't in the lineup at first, but then I actually
Right.
looked at it and I was like, yeah, like that makes sense.
Yeah, it checks out. Now, the context, like,
That
all
makes
right,
a lot
yeah,
of sense. Yeah,
you can't really
you can't.
blame. Yeah.
It could be a Clark Schmidt thing, where it's like, how's he supposed to get better if you don't? But
Yeah.
regardless, it's a tough lefty. I don't blame them for doing that. And then, as you mentioned earlier, Juan Soto. It's a 2-2 ball game in the bottom of the 7th. Juan Soto bases clearing double.
It was raining at that point too, right?
It was raining the entire. Don't even. You.
Yeah.
I'll get into that later.
That's a whole other point.
But
Sorry.
it was raining the entire game, and just. It's so hard to talk good about Soto because there's not much more to say. There's nothing more
like,
to say.
what else are you supposed to say?
Like,
yeah.
I want to, oh my god, that's such a clutch hit. You want to talk about him for a while. We're all out of stuff to talk about.
What else is there to talk
There's
about?
not much more to talk about at all. It's ridiculous. He's
funny.
just. You got to give him whatever
He's
he
as
wants.
advertised. I mean,
Not
like,
even as advertised. He's better.
been more.
He's one of the best defenders in baseball this year as an outfielder. Like, what is 85th percentile in fielding run? Something like crazy good. But he's just.
A lot of red.
Oh my
A lot of good stuff.
And with him and Judge starting to hit, this lineup is going to be. I'll get into that more, but I kind of just wanted to go into my overall. You know what? I'll get into that now. So, there are kind of 2 main takeaways I had for this series, or kind of as of late, and that is from Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and the bullpen. Aaron Judge, this is a stat from Chris Kirshner in The Athletic. In his last 50 plate appearances, his expected weighted on base has the 2nd highest increase in baseball. Meaning that he just started turning it on. I don't have numbers about how he's done lately, but you just watch his games. He is such a better hitter. And you have Juan Soto, who is probably the best, not even probably, is the best hitter in the American League right now. And you're putting the guy that broke the AL home run record behind him, the most home runs without doing steroids, knock on wood. That's crazy. And then you have Rizzo starting to hit, Stan being one of the most, what'd you say, 8th most clutch hitter in baseball with run scoring position.
Something like that, yeah.
That is insane for this lineup. And even then, that puts a lot, I think Volpe's had better at-bats lately. I think he's starting to turn it around. He hasn't really been getting production, but he's been hitting balls harder, been driving them more. If you get both of them going on, pitchers are going to have to pitch to Volpe. They're going to have to throw him strikes because if he gets on base, God forbid, you have one of the best. I forget the way I worded it, but you are taking a good lineup and you're making a special lineup if Judge hits. Like a top 3 lineup in baseball. I would put them, Dodgers, and Braves. And I don't really think. And it's kind of them on an island and then everyone else.
Right.
So that's
fair. Yeah. The potential up and down this lineup is huge.
Even you have Verdugo, who's a league average hitter going into it, but he's been one of the better hitters on this team. And I know Glaber's been starting to turn it around somewhat now. And the big thing was Austin Wells. Jose Trevino, I'm pretty sure, had a pretty clutch hit too.
Right.
Yesterday. You're getting.
Very special.
Let's see. You have the best right fielder in baseball. You have. If Judge is hitting, you have the best center fielder in baseball. You have the best catching situation offensively and defensively in baseball. You have 2 of the best defenders in the middle infield. And you have Rizzo, who's starting to get off his ass. Stan, who's one of the most clutch hitters in baseball. this is really turning this lineup around, and it's crazy that we were talking about with the Mets, where like, oh, you're relying on Alonso when it's not necessarily relying on him, but you're relying on him to make a good lineup become special.
Right.
And I think more to an extreme with the Yankees, just because the Yankees kind of have a higher ceiling with like your Sotos, with your Rizos.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's crazy how the ceiling of this offense, if Aaron Judge wants to actually hit the baseball, which he's been doing very well recently.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And then, did you have anything else to say about the offense?
No, it's hard to put into words. I mean, how the potential behind this lineup, but
Yeah. And
go
I
on.
will even say, like, people, when you think Tigers, you think, like, a pretty shitty team. Like, that's kind of, like, the consensus the last couple of years. Like, they're not a good team. They have some pretty damn good pitching.
Yeah.
You scored 5 runs in games that Tariq Skubal and Casey Mize started.
Right.
So,
They've been pretty good this year, and just outright swept them. So that's pretty big.
I remember what I was gonna say now. The goddamn rain. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So it was drizzling when the game started. The rain got heavier and heavier throughout the game. It was to the point where they were putting like the demoisturizing or whatever, like the drying agent on the field in between every half inning. And they were starting to become like some puddles, whatever. The rain stops in the 7th inning. They put all the stuff on it. There's still a couple puddles, whatever. It's not going to rain for another 30, 45 minutes. You're going into the bottom of the 8th. You only need to get 6 more outs. Because, like you say, 3 for the Yankees, 3, whatever. 6 more outs to go. And you call a rain delay when you know it's going to be raining in 30 minutes, and it's not going to stop raining for another hour after that. When the Tigers have a travel day, so they don't want to get out of there late. You're going to lose how many fans that are just going to go home because they don't want to wait that long?
Yeah.
And you played through much worse. Why not at least try to finish the game?
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
And then you wait like 45 minutes and they call the game.
Right.
Why not call the game? If you're going to... I think they should have kept playing. If you're not going to keep playing, call the game right there. I think those are the only 2 options you have. Either
Especially
try and
that
finish
late.
it out. The bottom of the 8th inning. Like,
Yeah.
That pissed me off so much. Like, give me either call the game now or try and play through it. And they waited 45 minutes, wasting everyone's time. They were trying to sell them chicken buckets.
It could be worse. Did you see what happened to the Cardinals? I forgot who they were playing. They got put in a rain delay with bottom of the 9th, bases loaded, 2 outs, and they were on a rain delay.
Did it get...
And it didn't. I think it started back up like hours later, and the game ended on like a really bad strikeout call.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I
think everyone left by then, but it was really bad.
As a fan though, I'd be so livid. At least it's not a beat delay.
Pissed. Yeah, exactly.
Was it Dodgers Diamondbacks?
Dodgers Diamondbacks, yeah.
For those that don't know,
that was funny.
They had a hour-long delay, 2 hour long delay.
Like 2 hours almost.
Because there was a bee nest. Where was it?
Right behind home plate, like the netting behind home plate. They just started forming around it.
And there was an exterminator in the stands, or like a bee removal guy in the stands.
They had to call him. It wasn't even in the stands.
I thought it was a fan.
No, the beekeeper, because I was reading up on it because it was hilarious. He was at, I think, his son's like Little League game. He got a call like, hey, they need help at Chase Field because there's bees or whatever. So he had to leave the game, drive to Chase Field, and then get all his equipment and whatever. And then they let him throw out the first pitch.
Yeah, that was the best part, that they let him throw out.
Yeah.
Imagine being scheduled to throw out the first pitch, and then some random Joe Schmo coming from his kid's Little League game throws out the first pitch.
Amazing. And as he was getting rid of the bees, they were playing, oh my god, what's the song? It's a song from Shrek 2.
All-Star?
No. Like I Need a Hero or whatever.
Yes.
Yes. They were playing that. Yeah.
Or holding out
you
for
sing
a hero.
it so we don't get copyright. Yes, that's what it is. But they were playing that as he was removing the bees. It's an absolutely amazing time.
Just a hilarious story where...
Regardless.
Yeah, we went on a little tangent there. But yeah, the last thing I kind of want to mention was the bullpen. So, you get your pats on the back. I'm losing my confidence in Hamilton and gaining a lot more in Holmes, where in his last six appearances, Hamilton's not given up a run. Okay. He has 5 hits and 4 walks in 4 2/3 innings. So 0 ERA, 6.37 FIP, 7.87 expected FIP, and multiple inherited runners have scored.
Yikes.
So that's been, I don't know what it is with him, but he's just not been good as of late. Like, yeah, he doesn't have an earned run on his ledger, but both those Nestor runs were him when he was in the game. I think, like, immediate, like, one of the first pitches was a double down the line, and one of the runs scored. So it's just kind of things like that as of late. And then for Clay Holmes in his last 11 games, 7 saves, 11.1 innings pitched, 7 hits, 1 walk, 16 strikeouts, 67% ground ball rate, a 0 ERA, 0.6 FIP, 1.09 expected FIP. Before you say what you're going to say, the reason I didn't have faith in Clay Holmes was because he wasn't striking guys out. That was the reason why I did not have faith in him, because you don't strike guys out, the numbers aren't going to say you're doing well. He had like a 3.5, 4 expected FIP in the beginning of the year. You got to give me that at least.
I will. But
where I wasn't, it's because he wasn't striking guys out that was making me very nervous, because when he's on his game, he is making you look like an idiot and striking you out.
Yeah. No, for sure. That's valid. But, hey, I've been on the train.
You have been on the train.
I've been on the train. You cannot take that away from me.
I'm not taking it away from you.
Yeah, I'm still very impressed with what I've seen from Holmes. I think he's pitched really well. A lot of the underlying stuff looks good. It's not like he's getting lucky or anything like that. Like, he looks good. His pitches look good.
It really
Yankees
is
got
just
a closer.
Strikeouts for me. That's really all it is. Just that him
doing
it
18,
shows that dominance.
18 strikeouts in 16 innings.
Yeah, in his last 11 innings, he has 16.
Right.
So it's, yeah. And then the last guy I wanted to touch about that, of course they have one of these guys every single year, Luke Weaver, where in his last 22 innings pitched, he has a 2.86 ERA, a 3.21 FIP. So not that lucky, but the thing that's been impressed with me is, one, that was in, I think, 11 or 12 games, so he's going about 2 innings a game, and they're using him in that, like, Michael King role for, like, that multi-inning guy, and just, that's perfect, because they didn't really have that guy, but he's kind of, I don't want to say the fireman, but kind of just, like, he's going to eat innings for you, and under 3 ERA for a guy that's going multiple innings, sign me up any day.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's where a lot of teams are kind of moving towards, and the game itself is just those multi-inning relievers that you need at least one. But I've seen a lot of teams starting to have 2 because, starters just aren't going as long as they once were. So having guys like that can eat innings, or not even eat innings, but, give you good competitive innings in the middle of the game is huge.
Yeah. And I will say, even with the Yankees, they wanted to have 3 of them. Where Loaizaga, that was the plan for him. That was the plan for Hamilton as well. So you lose Loaizaga, now Hamilton hasn't been doing well, so you only have Weaver. But I think that's very telling when the Yankees are pretty ahead of the curve when it comes to bullpen. So kind of seeing the trends they're doing, I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes a lot bigger in MLB. I'm surprised it hasn't caught on earlier, especially after what Michael King did in 2022, when it was like him and Holmes, where it was like, they are your last 3 innings, and you are not scoring on them.
Definitely.
So,
yeah, I didn't even think about that, having, like, instead of having 1 7th inning guy, 1 8th inning guy, like, having a 7 and 8 inning guy, like, that could very well be where the game is going.
Yeah. And just one very last note on the bullpen. They have not given up a run since the 27th of April. So about week and a half. They haven't given up a run yet. So.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And then.
That is pretty good.
Did you have anything else you want to say about like the series, Yankees overall?
No, I mean, hey, sweep's a sweep. You'll love to see it.
Yeah. And then going into their next matchup, so they have an off day today. Then they start a 3-game series against the Astros on Tuesday at 7:05, 7:05, and then, they have a 5 o'clock game on Thursday. It's at Yankee Stadium, so it's in Eastern Standard Time.
Dude.
Whatever, that's weird, but
Bizarre.
yeah, you have Justin Verlander against Luis Heel, so ace versus ace. Then you have, oh god, I'm gonna butcher this. Oh god, it's a Qantas Stickers thing all over again. Spencer Arrighetti. Did I get that
spaghetti.
right? Yes, Spencer Spaghetti versus Carlos Rodon. And then Raniel Blanco versus Marcus Stroman. The Astros are not the Astros. They are 12-22. I could be wrong, but I think they blew all 3 games against the Mariners. I knew they definitely blew the last 2.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. They've just been a good team. I will say you do have 2 tough matchups in Verlander and Blanco, but you have to win. For nothing other than confidence, you have to win at least 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
because
that's
I know the
exactly
Astros
what I was
aren't
going to
doing
say.
well, but they are your boogeyman. You
Right.
have to put your boogeyman down.
Right, and you don't want to be the team that gets the Astros hot. You know.
Sorry, you go.
No, I was just going to say that I think a lot of the issues rely on the bullpen. You're facing, I'd say, 2 out of the 3 best pitchers. I'm not too familiar with Spaghetti.
He has is that an 8 or 6? An 8.27 ERA this year.
Yikes. Okay.
He's 0-3. I don't have how many starts, but
yeah, but I know Blanco has
innings.
been 16. All right, so like 2-3 starts maybe, but
4
Blanco's been
games.
solid. Okay. Blanco has been solid. Verlander's Verlander, but I think the key for this series is getting the starters out early because their bullpen is where they are extremely vulnerable.
And even then, you have their 2 best guys are Ryan. It's still Presley and Hader. Presley's not like slid down.
Yeah, no, I think it's still Presley.
The Yankees have great numbers against both them.
Right.
Ryan Presley is like the Craig Kimbrell when he was on the Red Sox, where like, yeah, he's a dominant guy, but he just cannot pitch against the Yankees. And Hader hasn't done that well against the Yankees. So if you can get to them in a tied game and you could try and use the bottom of their bullpen, I'm pretty confident in how this series will go.
Yeah, definitely. Like their 3-headed monster that they really wanted, that really like made this bullpen elite. Ryan Abreu, 4.32 ERA. Ryan Presley, 5.27. Josh Hader, 6.14.
Ooh, god damn.
Yeah.
Not good.
No. So you really got to get to these starters early and get them out.
I'm just worried that they're going to boo guys, and that's going to get them started. That's the only thing I'm worried. Like, if I'm at this game, I'm not booing anyone.
Yeah.
I honestly wouldn't.
Yeah. Altuve's been Altuve. Tucker's been hot. Alvarez has been okay.
God,
Bregman still hasn't really gotten going.
Oh, God. Alvarez is going to go 3 for 3 with 3 home runs. Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly. So you have some, some points that you can exploit, but it's just a matter of execution.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I got. If you want to wrap us up.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on our social medias on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, at Triboro Podcast. We are on Spotify, so give us a review there. And I think there's a ring bell thing for notifications. So do that so you know whenever we upload a new episode. But yeah, thank you guys again, and we will see you in the next episode.
See you guys then.